Hi guys, welcome to the second episode of Quant Foundry. Today we're going to be working with time series and building a time series chart. Super simple, super basic. Every episode in this series on Tableau is going to be pretty short and to the point, but each lesson will build on one another until we get to the final state, which is publishing our first dashboard to Tableau public. So here I've already loaded some data from Excel in. It's an ad tech display advertising campaign. I'm not going to get into ad tech definitions and things of that nature. We're focused solely on learning how to navigate Tableau and building different visualizations with Tableau. So if you're interested in following along with this specific data set, there's a link to a Google Drive with this data in the description below. Excuse me. So I'm going to go ahead and ingest this data. It's already ingested. So I've labeled a worksheet. Time series. On your screen, you should see sheet 1. So you're going to go ahead and click on sheet 1, and for me, it's time series. So here we've got our dimensions uploaded here that Tableau has detected, and our measures. If you remember, measures are things that can be calculated on, and dimensions are more like text-based things that can give qualifications to data. So to build a time series, our time date data type here is conversion date. Right here, I've already converted this over to a calendar type or date data type. For you, it's probably showing up as an ABC icon right next to it, denoting that Tableau is reading it as a string. To change, you're going to have to change that data type. So go ahead and right-click on conversion date, go to change data type, and you'll see that string is selected. You're going to want to change it to date. I've already done it, so go ahead and click on date, and you should see a calendar populating right next to conversion date. So go ahead and double-click on conversion date. It's going to bring in the year 2016 and a null value. We'll exclude the null value because we don't need that for now. Tableau defaults to rolling up to the highest level of aggregation. This data type is for a campaign that ran in October 2016 and ended at the end of October 2016. So we're going to go ahead and disaggregate this to make it a little bit more useful. So you can either click on this drop down here or right click on the year pillbox, and you'll get this pop-up menu. So you've got two different sections that show time aggregations. We've got the first one here, which is discrete. It's showing year, quarter, month, day, etc. Discrete, we're not interested in working with discrete dates in this exercise, so we're going to be focused here in this second section. This is for continuous data. So we'll dive into a little bit between the difference between the two in a future episode, but for now, let's just focus on building a time series. So go ahead and click on month. This is only going to have one month in this data set. Yep, this is confirmed. Tableau is reading 1 month within this data. It's October. Not super meaningful, so we're going to edit it again. And let's slice it up by day at this point. Okay, so Tableau is reading an event for every day within October. That's good to know. So let's go ahead and bring in a measure to add more variety into this visualization. Go ahead and double click on sales. And this will give us a pretty basic time series showing sales over the month of October. So here at the top, October 1st, we had 21,000. Down here, we had a trough of 10,000, October 3rd. Then we went back up, October 6th, to about 30,000. And we can kind of see how sales were affected throughout the course of the month by this campaign. I generally don't advise working with time series data at the day level unless you know there's a very short fixed time period that you're working with in the data set. So I would say a month is probably a best practice of avoid getting any more granular than a daily view if working with month data. If you're looking at quarterly data, it's going to get super noisy at the day level. So let's take a look and see what happens if we roll this aggregation up to the week instead. So let's go ahead and right-click on your day pillbox and select week number. This tells a different story. You see how I'm going to go ahead and undo. You see how choppy this is? It looks like in the first 2 weeks of the month, sales were pretty sporadic, and then they leveled off for about a week, and then they ramped up and hit an all-time high. But when we roll up into the week level, that story changes a little bit. It kind of smooths the data out over the course of the month and shows more of a story about how sales were ramping, kind of ironing out the targeting strategy within the campaign, etc. And then we hit their apex here in the third week of October and leveled off at the end of the month, which is pretty common within advertising campaigns. Okay, this isn't super actionable and it's not very useful. It's pretty basic. We're going to go ahead and show you how to create time series that are segmented. So everything in the Tableau interface is drag and drop. So we can, if we want to color by sales, we can drag sales onto color. And you can see how the intensity of our line changes with the amount of sales that are done. If we want to, we can also change the sizing of our chart. So the line on our time series gets fatter the higher the sales value becomes. We can also add labels to our line segments. So 21,000, 119, etc. I'm going to undo. But what we're going to do is we're going to color by a dimension. So let's go ahead and take, let's say, conversion type and drop it on the color tile. So we've got two different conversion types. Clicks are denoted by blue and view conversions are denoted by orange. This is consistent with what my experience in the ad industry. Most conversions are indeed view conversions until you start dealing with things more in like social media and pay-per-click marketing like Google AdWords and things like that. Let's go ahead and undo this because it looks like our view conversions are making up the bulk of our sales. So undo. Let's take a look at campaign type. Drag campaign type onto the color tile, and we've segmented this out. So we've got two, it looks like we've got two different types of campaigns running. A prospecting campaign, which is top of funnel, so trying to reach as many qualified leads as possible, and then retargeting, which is more focusing on folks who either showed intention or affinity with an ad, who could potentially be pushed further down the funnel and into a converting purchaser. So this is a pretty nice breakout at the campaign level, showing sales over time segmented by campaign type. Now, this is I would recommend you playing around with segmenting your time series data by different dimensions to see what happens. Let's go ahead and take a look at what happens if we take a super granular data type and segment by that. You generally want to avoid segmenting a time series by no more than 3 or 4 fields. We'll show you why. So let's take a creative name. This is actually the name of a specific creative that was ran on an ad exchange. So it's warning us that there are 35 members of the creative name, so 35 different unique creatives. Let's go ahead and add all. You see how noisy this got very quickly? This is effectively meaningless and useless. All it's really telling us is this red line here, October ID, contemporary fit blacks call to action, and then the dimensions of the creative is our top performing creative out of all 35. Not super useful, so we want to stay away from granular dimensional cuts. Let's go back to our campaign type segmentation. So there you have it. This is a basic time series, and you built your first one here in Tableau.